automotive industry today, electric vehicles are the topic of discussion. It's been a long road for battery-powered land vehicles, but their day is coming. While it might seem like the days of the internal combustion engine are numbered, the two can coexist, and they will for many years to come. The history of commercially viable internal combustion engines goes back about 170 years, but the engine as we know it was developed by Nicholas Otto in 1876. Named for him, the Otto cycle engine features the four strokes we all know as intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust. It was that design that allowed the modern automobile to become as ubiquitous as it has over the last century or so. But prior to the Ford Model T, gasoline wasn't powering the majority of vehicles. Most early vehicles were steam or electric. In the late 18th century, the first steam-powered road vehicles were developed. Steam engines were bulky and dirty and difficult to operate, but progress in electricity was coming. Between 1700 and 1800, a number of developments in this new field of electricity found ways to generate it and harness its power. Names like Franklin, Coulomb, Galvani, Volta, and Faraday have all been attached to this science as they made huge strides in its advancement. Benjamin Franklin's experiments with electricity eventually led to Charles Augustin de Coulomb's methods of measuring charges. Luigi Galvani's further experiments pushed Alessandro Volta to develop early batteries, and it would be Michael Faraday's discoveries that would lead to the use of alternating current, transformers, and induction motors. In the early 19th century, inventors combined these discoveries and inventions to harness electricity for propulsion. Robert Anderson of Scotland was among the first to build an electric vehicle in 1832. His rather crude vehicle had non-rechargeable batteries, and there are no reports on its speed or range, but this helped start the charge towards electric vehicles. By the mid-century, the invention of rechargeable batteries was the next big step. These early lead-acid batteries were heavy but could allow the mobile use of electricity. It would take further developments in motor technology, most significantly by Zenobé Théophile Graham of Belgium in 1873, to make them practical enough for transportation use. M. Gustave Trovet of France finally combined a rechargeable lead-acid battery with a proper DC motor mounted in a tricycle to demonstrate electric self-propulsion at the 1881 Paris International Exhibition of Electricity. Two small motors generating about 1/10 of a horsepower were energized by 6 batteries to motivate the 160-kilogram vehicle with Trovet piloting it. Observers claimed it could reach as much as 7.5 miles per hour. Many inventors saw this demonstration and quickly followed it with creations of their own. In 1882, Professor S.P. Thomson addressed the University of Bristol and touted the potential of electricity. "Before the electric age is over," Thomson said, "our knives will be polished, our coffee roasted, our shoes shined, our vehicles driven, our potatoes pared, and our mincemeat chopped by the same electricity that will bring light into our dwellings." He had quite a vision for the electric future, but it would take a number of others to make this vision come true. Thomas Parker teamed up with Paul Bedford Elwell in 1882 to make Parker's improved batteries and dynamos. Starting in 1884, Parker built a series of prototype electric vehicles and has been credited with the first production EVs. In America, Scottish immigrant William Morrison was improving his storage batteries in the 1880s. He built his first prototype electric vehicle in 1887. A later improved EV from Morrison astonished spectators as it paraded through Des Moines in 1890 carrying 7 passengers. Morrison continued to develop his designs with a series of 12 EVs produced in 1897, which sold for an amazing $3,600 each, or the equivalent of about $121,000 today. In the 1880s, Croatian-born Nikola Tesla, working in Austria, developed the 3-phase AC motor, which would lead to the modern electrical motors used in many applications even today. His experiments in alternating current eventually brought us to the standard used in household electricity, proving to be more efficient than Thomas Edison's chosen direct current. In 1899, Camille Genetzi drove his electric car, nicknamed La Jamais Contente, or the Never Satisfied, to more than 100 kilometers an hour, or 62 miles per hour. He set the land speed record with an average of 105.9 kilometers an hour, or just shy of 66 miles per hour, measured over a kilometer. The record would stand for 3 years before a steam-powered vehicle would add nearly 10 miles per hour to Genetzi's best speed. All of this development would prove the practicality of Professor Thomson's claim that our vehicles would be driven by electricity. The shift away from the horse-drawn carriage to horseless carriages would involve battery power, but the shift would only be temporary, as more practical alternatives were also being developed.